So if you just have your block kind of handy, kind of at the side of your mat, and we're going to start in a nice child's pose. It's quite grim outside, so we'll start with something nice. But I want you to keep this time your toes tucked. To keep your toes tucked, knees are going to be nice and wide, and your toes are going to be together to touch. Lengthen out of your waist and then just come to rest in a nice child's pose, bringing your forehead down to the ground. So your hips might be slightly higher off your heels, and that's fine. If this does get too uncomfortable, you're welcome to untuck your toes. Bringing your hands out to 10 and 2, spreading those fingers really wide. We're starting to feel a nice opening from our lats all into our underarms and down our arms. Maybe closing down your eyes and just taking a couple of moments here to let our breath smoothen out. Just knowing for that the next 60 minutes or so, all that matters is that you're on your mat and you're moving your body in a way it wants to move. Knowing there's no expectations today. And as we are working with hip stability and leg strength, we're going to have quite a grounding practice. So this idea of taking the energy from beneath us and feeling a real connection to the earth. So I'm just going to talk you through a pranayama or a breath technique. So prana is energy in our body, and by doing our breathing techniques, we kind of shift that energy about and we can really feel the energy in the body. So we're going to be doing a breathing technique called Brahmari breath or bumblebee breath. So it's this idea of kind of making the sound of Om, but your mouth is closed and you're sending that noise into your forehead. So as we are in child's pose, you'll be sending it to where your forehead's touching the ground. So I'll just quickly demonstrate for you. So you just take a big inhale, and then on your exhale, like you're omming or humming, you send that noise out. And in your head, it'll feel like there's a little bumblebee. So just as a group together, we're going to take a deep inhale, exhale out of sight and mouth, get rid of it all, inhale, and then start your breathing. Taking an inhale, keeping your mouth closed on that exhale, making it nice and long. Inhaling in your own time, filling up your lungs, and then exhaling out your Brahmari breath. Then just taking a deep inhale and sighing it out. Maybe feeling some of that energy that breath created. Feeling that grounding down to the earth. And then slowly in your own time, just picking up your gaze, and we're going to walk our hands back to meet our knees and just coming, untucking your toes for a second, just coming to sit, spinning your hands up towards the sky. And just closing down your eyes, maybe rolling your shoulders back a few times. Just finding a bit of stillness and peace just before we get moving. And in order for us to find strength and find connection from the earth, we need to also find a connection with our feet. And I've spoken about this before, that we don't often give our feet any attention. We use them all the time. We just put them in shoes or just walk on them. We don't give them any attention. So we're just going to bring our awareness to the soles of our feet. So we're going to come into a broken toe pose. So if you do have any knee sensitivity or you want to pad up your knees, you can. So we're just going to lift our hips up so they're just above our knees. And we're going to tuck our toes back underneath. Again, making sure that little pinky toe is also flat on the earth. And just staying up and just feeling this out, and then slowly dropping our hips down onto our heels, making sure our ankles aren't splaying out to the sides, so our ankles are tucked in, lifting our low tummy up, spinning your hands up to the ceiling. Maybe closing down your eyes, keeping that long breath with you. Sending that breath to the sole of your feet as you start to feel all those layers of fascia in your foot start to open. Exhale at a sigh if you need to. Staying for one more breath. Then exhale, just bringing your weight forward, hands to the earth, scrunching up your toes, even tap them on the ground a few times. Waking up our feet. And then just rolling your feet out to the side. We're just going to come to lie on our back. Making sure you can grab your block because we will be using it. So you're going to set your feet onto the ground. You should be able to put your fist kind of in between your legs. And then just so you can just about tickle your heels. Hands are going to come down either side into a runway. On inhale, we're going to peel our hips up towards the ceiling. And then exhale to bring it down. Now we're going to take our block. We're going to put our block or our book in between our knees. So this idea of hugging the block in. And then just taking your hands and just setting them on your hips so your fingers are facing up towards the ceiling. And even lifting your gaze. So where your hips are right now, your hips are nice and square. So if at any point in class you're not sure, just bring your hands to your hips and see which direction your fingers are pointing in. Maybe if one hand is going out to the left or the right, you know that they're not square. So keeping this idea of your hips exactly as they are, squeezing those outer hips in. On an inhale, we're going to lift our tummy up, peeling our spine off the mat, creating a nice straight line from our knees all the way down to our shoulders, squeezing that block in. And then exhale to lower it down. Inhale, lift the hips up, tuck the tailbone under. And then this time we're going to lift our heels up, coming up to our tippy toes. So you might be able to lift those hips even higher, but keeping them nice and neutral. And then exhale to lower all the way back down. Inhale to lift up, finding strength in your legs. Keep squeezing that block, and you're going to lift your right foot up just to 45 degrees. So it's a nice straight line, pointing your toes here. Thinking about your hips as your right hip dropping down, keeping them nice and central. Then bringing your right foot back down, lowering your hips. And then up again. This time, once you find your stability there, then lift your left leg up. So really important you find stability before you make a movement. And then bring that left foot down, lowering your legs down. And then just taking the block out from your knees, maybe hugging your knees in towards your chest. So in order for us to find mobility, we must find stability first. Then we're going to place our feet back down on the earth. So lifting our hips up, so that our hips are closed, they're nice and square. And now we're going to open up our right hip. So dropping that right knee just slightly out to the right, just going within your own range of motion and bringing it back in. Even placing your right hand just to the outside of your hip, and you'll feel as your right knee drops to the side and comes back in, the muscles contracting. So dropping the right knee out and bringing it back in, then finding that nice squaring off as you then drop and open your hip to the left and bring it back in. Feeling those muscles contract as they have to work to drag that knee back into center. And then lowering your hips back down, hugging your knees into your chest, easing off with your quads and your glutes. And then now we're just going to do a little bit of core work. So bringing your knees above your hips, so your knees are at a nice 90-degree angle. And we're going to keep this angle with our legs, and even bringing your hands down to your hips, just so you can feel it out here. We're going to inhale and an exhale. We're just going to dip our right toe down. And then exhale, bring it back up. Inhale, dip the left. and exhale to bring it back up. On the right, so inhale to dip it down, exhale to bring it back up. And you'll start to feel those deep layers of your core start to work. So just doing this with your own breaths. So in order to find this stability, we need to have the area all around our pelvis nice and engaged. So that includes our glutes, our quads, our hamstrings, and also our deep core. So just doing it 2 more times on each side. So inhaling, dropping down, keeping that angle in your knees. So your hip is just working like a hinge. And then once you're done, just hugging your knees into your chest, just rolling around, and then smooth your back a little bit to ease that off. And just taking a couple of blocks, just coming to find a comfortable seat here. And we're just going to do a couple of just nice spine twists. And exhaling through the center, and inhale to twist out to the other side. And then twisting out to the other side, just starting to weaken the spine up a little bit. Doing about 3 on each side. Then rolling over your ankles, just coming to all fours here. So bringing yourself to the middle of your mat. Just coming to all fours, and then we're just going to keep our hips nice and high, walking the hands forward, coming into a nice melting heart pose. So forehead down to the earth, hips are up nice and high. And imagining you could spiral your inner thighs out behind you, and that will start to work your glutes and engage your outer hips. Taking a couple of breaths here just to open up your front body. I want to get the whole body nice and open before we start flowing. Then your next exhale, walking the hands back and just placing them underneath your shoulders. So just coming into a nice tabletop here. So hands are spread nice and wide so you can really push the ground away. Your tailbone's going to be tucked slightly under and just pulling your belly button towards your spine. Now keeping your block nice and handy, just placing your right hand just to the very small of your back. And if your hips are nice and square, which they should be in your tabletop, you'll feel that there's a nice little shelf almost right at your lower back. You're going to pick up your block and you're going to set your block on that shelf. So it's basically just sitting on your back. So in this position, it should be nice and easy. Now we're going to concentrate on making sure that block doesn't fall. If it does, don't worry, just put it back. But make sure you reset first, put the block on, and then come back into the pose. So you're going to pick up your left hand, reaching it forward, your palm is going to spin in. Keeping that engagement, keeping your hips nice and square, lifting that right leg now behind you. Spinning all 10 toes down towards the earth. And your foot is in direct extension, so not swaying out to the right or the left. Inhale here, and then exhale. We're going to bring our hand down to touch our knee. And then inhale to reach out. Hand down to touch our knee. Reach it out and inhale. And when you reach, make sure you really are as if you're grabbing something. And then bringing your hand down to touch your knee. And then reaching back out. And then replacing your knee and your hand back down on the earth. So keeping that block nice and stable, reaching that right hand forward as if you're going to grab something you really, really want in front, really reaching out from your hip all the way out to your fingertips. And then lift up your left leg. So having your toes spinning down towards the earth. Your hips will be nice and closed here. So inhale to reach out, exhale, bringing your hand down to touch your knee. And then reaching out. So seeing the importance of keeping your hips nice and stable, touching your knee. So that you can keep your balance. And come to touch your knee. And then reach it out. And then placing your hands back down onto the mat, and then removing your block. So the importance of our hip stability in order to find our balance. Just doing one quick round of cat-cow here. Inhale, drop your belly down, open your chest. and exhale, pushing the ground away. And then tucking our toes here, puffing up our shoulder blades, sending our hips down towards our feet, and then picking up our knees, coming into our downward facing dog. Just starting to walk the feet out a little bit. Find a bit of movement in your legs, straightening one and the other. Really pushing that ground away from you. Chest down towards your legs. Inhale, look to the front of your mat, then exhale, stepping to the front of your mat, coming into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hands through the heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up, really pushing down to the earth so you can get that length in your hands. Then exhale to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Imagine the blocks on your lower back when you're doing this. And exhale to forward fold, stepping back to your plank. Dropping your knees down to the earth. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Exhale, lowering all the way down to the earth, untucking your toes, rolling your chin and chest forward. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, coming back to your downward facing dog. So those that joined us last week were very familiar with our Sun A. We did quite a lot of them last week. So inhale, look to the top of your mat, and exhale, step to the top of your mat, coming into your forward fold. And you're going to take your block, and you're going to be in your forward fold. You're going to place your heels on the block. So as if you were standing in a pair of high heels. Apologies to any men who are on the call. You can have a deep bend in your legs here. But I want you to bring your hands, bring your thumbs just into those hip creases. And just feeling the position of your pelvis in this. So your tailbone will be shining up towards the ceiling. So this is a position you're wanting your hip to be in when you're in your forward fold. So shining up. So the importance here is your hips are shining up, not necessarily getting nice straight legs. Just taking a couple of breaths here so you feel out that position. Then removing the block, exhale, coming into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, and exhale, placing your hands on your mat, stepping your left foot back, lowering that back knee, coming into your low lunge. Inhale, reach it up. Now I'm not going to say this all through class. Front knee comes back, back hip comes forward, hips directly in front. Even bring your hands down so you're making sure they're directly in front. Picking that low tummy up, reaching out of the hands. Then exhale, just getting your block and just placing your block behind your right foot. And we're just going to come into a nice reverse lunge here. So the left arm's going to go up behind you. Keeping that engagement with your legs. Then exhale, placing your left hand off to the side, reaching your right arm up, coming into a twist. And when we come into things like twists from a lunge, keeping your legs exactly the same position. And then just bringing your hand just to your head. We're just going to come into a little bit of a back bend here. It's just opening your chest up towards the ceiling. Taking one more breath here. Then exhale, placing your hands down to frame the front foot, just tucking your back toes. And we're going to come into standing splits here. So really grounding down with your right foot as your weight shifts up. Toes are going to be down towards the earth. And thinking about your hip placement here. So making sure your hip isn't opening out towards the left hand side. A nice rule of thumb I have for standing splits is if you look at your left foot, you should just be able to see your left big toe. So your left big toe should be just hiding behind your right knee. Then if you wanted, placing your hands on the block if you can't quite reach the ground here. We're going to inhale to find loads of length in our left leg. So we're almost lifting our left leg out of the socket. Then exhale, we're going to crunch it in. So bring our left knee to touch behind our right knee. Deep bend in the right leg. And then inhale to reach it back up. Exhale to crunch it in. And inhale to reach it back up. So finding nice strength in our right leg. Inhale to crunch it in. Then exhale to reach it back up behind us. Stamp that left leg behind us, checking our alignment. And now we're going to bring our leg really far into our hip socket and slowly bringing our left foot down, So it just hovers just above the mat, even for a quick second. Then exhale, stepping onto the mat. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale, placing your hands on the mat, stepping back into your plank. Shifting your weight forward. Exhale, lowering all the way down. Untuck your toes. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale. Inhale to cobra and exhale back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg behind you, and exhale, crunching it in, placing your left foot in the ground, keeping your right foot nice and lifted, coming into our runner's lunge on this side. So squeezing those outer hips in. Then taking your block, you're just going to place your block behind your left heel, just whatever height you want, bringing your hands down to that block. And then you're going to pick up your left heel, coming onto your left tippy toes, then dropping it down. Picking up, keeping that engagement in your hips, don't let your hips sway. Drop it down. Lift up one more time. Drop it down. And then just shifting your right foot in just a couple of inches so you can straighten that left leg and you fold over that left leg, coming into your pyramid. Right hip forward, left hip back. Getting a nice stretch all along the back of our left leg here. Taking one more breath. Then exhale, just placing your block over to the side, rebending, coming into our runner's lunge, placing our right hand off wide, twisting our heart over to the left hand side. Again, coming into that slight back bend. So you can place your hand on your skull if you'd like to. Opening that chest out, squeezing the outer hips in. Then exhaling, coming back to our runner's lunge. And then just floating that right foot forward, coming into that forward fold. Seeing if you can hover your right foot just above the mat. Then exhale, placing it down on the mat in your forward fold. You're going to grab your block and you're going to come up halfway. So inhale to halfway lift. Then you're going to place your block on that sweet spot at the bottom of your back. And then reach your hands forward, keeping that block in the position, pulling your tummy up, feel those legs working. Then exhale to forward fold, keep the block there. Inhale to halfway lift, keep it steady. Exhale to forward fold, you can remove the block. Then inhale to halfway lift, exhale, hands on the mat, step your right leg back, dropping your knee down, coming into your low lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up. Placing your block behind your left foot and reaching the right arm up, coming into reverse low lunge here. So you're reaching from your pinky finger all the way down to your hip flexors. Then exhale, placing that right hand down to the earth, twisting out to the left hand side in your low lunge. Again, just opening through that chest, really grounding that right hand down as you squeeze your hips together. And exhaling, coming through to center, picking up your back foot. And I want you to really think about pushing into that left foot, and it's the pushing into that left leg that makes your right leg become really light and you can lift up. So in standing splits, it's not about the height of the back leg, it's about making sure your legs are nice and square. When you think about going into the actual splits, which I'm sure all of you do all the time, your legs are directly almost one in front of the other. So you don't want to be splaying out to the side. So again, just letting that right toe just peek behind that left knee. You can bring your hands to a block if you want to bring the ground slightly closer. Exhale, we're going to bring that right knee down towards behind our left knee. And then reaching it back up, keeping the hips in the right position. Exhale, just bringing it back, even touching your calf muscle if you can. Reach it back up, really active through that right foot. Coming down to touch. Then reaching it back up, placing that block over to the side. And again, pulling your femur right into your hip. Bringing that right foot down, let it hover just a little bit above. And then stepping it down. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, stepping it back to your plank. You can drop to your knees or you can leave them lifted if you want. Inhale, shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, coming down to your up dog or your cobra, your choice. Then exhale back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep that right leg up behind you, and just like we were coming into our standing splits, making sure our right leg isn't flaying out to either side. Exhale, crunching it in towards our chest, placing our right foot in front. Just coming into our runner's lunge here. Block is going to go behind that foot. And we're going to come into those toe lifts this time on this side. So picking our right heel up, feel that engagement in your quad, in your calf, and then drop it down. Inhale, lift the heel up, and drop it down. Inhale, lift your heel up, and then drop it down. And then just moving your back foot in just a couple of inches, placing our right foot flat on the earth. Your back foot, you're going to be high up in those toes, plugging that right femur into your socket, and then bowing over that right leg. So you come into pyramid. Making sure you're not doing anything weird with your upper body here, so shoulders are still nice and relaxed, face is nice and relaxed. Taking one more breath, then exhale, just placing your block out to the side, rebending, coming into that runner's lunge again, placing your left hand wide, peeling our heart open to the right. And making sure that right hip isn't splaying outside. We talk about tucking it under. Taking one more breath here, then exhale, coming back to our runner's lunge, lifting up that back foot and coming into our forward fold. See if you can hover it again, then placing it on the mat. Inhale to halfway lift, hold your halfway lift, get your block, place it on your back. Then exhale to forward fold again. Inhale to halfway lift, shoulders in line with your hips, pull that tummy up. Think about that rotation of your inner thigh out behind you, and then reach your hands forward. Taking a couple of breaths here, feel that strength in your legs. Then exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. You can place your block over to the side, stepping back into your plank, and you can go through a vinyasa flow, or you can go straight to your downward facing dog. Taking a couple of breaths in your down dog. If you want to even drop to child's pose for a couple of breaths, you can. Just thinking through some of the key points that we've ran through in practice already today. And keeping those with you as we continue to flow. On an inhale, if you're in child's pose, come up to your downward facing dog. Inhale, we're going to lift that right leg up behind us. Exhale, crunching in, placing that right foot down to the earth. Finding our runner's lunge. We are going to go into a high crescent lunge, but I want to make sure you have stability here. So finding a really grounding, so pushing that right foot into the ground, launching out to that back foot, and then on the inhale, reaching your hands up, coming into your runner's lunge. So you feel like you have a really solid base here. And just like we did, we're in a high crescent lunge, not a runner's lunge. Just like we did on our runner's lunge, we're just going to lift our front heels again. So on an inhale, just picking our heels slightly off the ground, then exhale to lower it back down, keeping that stability, hugging your hips in. Inhale to pick it up, exhale to lower. Inhale to pick it up, and exhale to lower. Keeping that strength. Now we're going to take a deep bend in our left knee and bring our left knee down to the earth just to kiss the mat. Then push it back up. Inhale, let it kiss the ground. Push it back up. One more time. Push it down. Lift it back up. Very good. Now we're going to reach ourselves forward. So our top, our upper body is in a 45-degree angle. Staying here, then picking up our left foot, stepping forward, coming into our chair pose at the front of our mat. Hands can come to the heart center if you wish. I just have dodgy shoulders, so I prefer my hands at heart center. Again, keeping that idea of hugging everything in. We're going to lift onto our toes this time, so lifting your heels up. Imagine the block was in between your knees and then dropping them back down. 2 more times, exactly like that. Inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale to drop it down. And inhale, lift your heels up. That hugging in action. Then exhale, drop it down, coming into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, find that grounding down through your feet as you reach up. So you push down on the earth as much as you reach out of your fingers. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up. Then exhale to forward fold. And then inhale, coming back into your chair pose. Picking up your right foot, so your right foot's hovering off the earth. Reaching that right foot back, coming into our high crescent lunge. Spinning on that back foot, coming into our warrior 2. So right foot is at 90 degrees. Heel to arch alignment, deep bend in that front leg. And this time our hips are nice and open. Taking a breath here. Straightening into that front leg, turning all our toes round towards the right hand side. Toes are going to point in slightly. Lifting out of our waist. And exhale to forward fold. Just coming into a wide-legged forward fold here. And think about sending your weight just slightly into your toes. Doesn't have to be a big movement, but it'll just lighten up the back of your leg slightly. And think about sending your sit bones away from each other. So we talk a lot about hugging hips in, and then we talk a lot about sending things away from each other. We want to find a nice openness here. So in order to find an openness, we're sending our outer hips away. Inhaling to halfway lift. And exhaling to forward fold again. Inhaling, just bringing your hands onto your hips and then rising all the way up. We're going to change the angle of our feet, so now we're going to spin so our heels are in and our toes are out. Reaching our hands up above our head. Inhale here, then exhale, coming into a goddess squat. So sending those knees over your ankles. And as you come down, your hands are going to come into a nice cactus shape. And then we're going to pick up our right heel, drop it down. Pick up our left heel, drop it down, and inhale to reach up. Very good. We're going to spin so we face the front of the mat. And then hands are going to come down. We're going to step forward into our forward fold. Having your trusty block handy. Inhale to halfway lift. And when you get your halfway lift, then placing that block on your lower back. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Keeping that lift. Reaching your hands forward. Shifting your weight into your right foot. We're going to pick up our left foot. Keeping that block nice and balanced. Reaching out to that right hand. And if you wish, coming into your warrior 3, reaching that left leg back and having a slight back bend with your upper body here. So just like we were doing our twists and we were going into a slight back bend, just opening your chest slightly, stamping that left foot behind you. Staying for one more breath, keeping your balance, then exhale, coming down to a forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. You can remove your block here. And then stepping back into your plank. Flowing to a vinyasa, or you can come straight to your downward facing dog, whichever one you want. Just finding your breath here. And if you came into child's pose, just bringing yourself back up to your downward facing dog. And then on inhale, we're going to lift that left leg up behind us. Hips nice and square. Exhale, crunching it in, placing our left foot onto the mat. Wait, we've already done this side, haven't we? Now I'm confusing myself. Have we done this side? We'll roll with it and then I'll work it out. If we've already done done this side, let me know. So we're in our runner's lunge with our left foot forward. We're squeezing our hips in. On an inhale, we're gonna lift ourselves up. We have done this side, haven't we? Sorry. Our right foot's gonna come forward. No, have we done this side? Whichever side we haven't done. I'm trying to think, so we go on this side, and then it'll be out that way. Right, I'm confusing myself, I do apologise. So whichever side you haven't done your high crescent lunge in, come into your high crescent lunge. Once you find stability in your warrior. Then we're going to come into those heel lifts again, so squeezing our outer hips in, reaching out through our back leg. On an inhale, we're going to lift our left heel up, and then drop it back down. Lifting our left heel up again, dropping it back down. I don't think we have done this side. And inhale, lifting our left heel up, and dropping it back down. Finding that strength in your legs. And then coming down so our knees kiss the earth, so bending that leg, touch the earth, and then reaching it back up. Bending that back leg to touch the earth, reach it back up. And one more time, bending the knee down, pick it back up. Now we're going to reach our chest forward, so we're strength, our hips all the way up to our hands. And then we're going to launch ourselves forward, coming into our chair pose. Just bringing your hands wherever's comfortable for you. And this time we're going to lift our heels this time. So making sure our tailbone is still nice and tucked under, belly button to spine, lifting up onto our toes. And exhale to drop them down. Inhale, lifting up onto our toes. Then exhale to drop them down. One more time, find that strength, lift it up. Drop it down, come into your forward fold. Shake it out if you need to. Inhale to halfway lift, exhale forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up, find all that length. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale to reach it up. Then exhale, coming back to forward fold. Then inhale, coming back into your chair, last one I promise. And then hands to the heart center, shifting your weight to your right foot. Picking your left foot up, so tucking your left heel in towards your bum, and then really slowly reaching that left foot back, placing it on the earth, spinning your back foot to 90, coming into your warrior two. Keeping that right hip tucked under, your left hip's opening out towards the left hand side, making sure you're not leaning too far forward or too far back, a direct extension up through your hips. Then pushing into that right leg so it straightens. Your toes are going to turn so slightly in, lifting up through your chest, and exhale, forward fold into our wide-legged forward fold. So when we did that activity of standing on the block in our forward fold and our hip placement there, engaging in the same hip placement here. So if you need to have a bend in your legs so that your tailbone shines up, that's absolutely fine. Taking another couple of breaths, lengthening through the backs of our legs. Inhale to halfway lift, exhale to forward fold. Bringing your hands to your hips, keeping a nice flat back in a inhale, all the way up to standing. And then spinning our heels, so our heels are in and our toes are out. Reaching our hands up above our head, and then exhale to goddess squat, bringing your hands into that nice cactus position, engaging through your lats. Sending your knees out. If you need to bring your hands down to push your knees out, you can. Knees tracking directly over your feet. And then we're going to pick up our right heel and place it back down, keeping that strength, keeping your tummy tucked. Left heel. Then place it down, straightening our legs, spinning on our toes, and coming into a brief runner's lunge, and then coming into our forward fold. I think this is the last time we're going to use our block. We're going to inhale to halfway lift, then placing our block onto that lower part of our back, and then we're going to exhale to forward fold. We're going to inhale to halfway lift. Then we're going to reach our hands out in front. Our hands are an extension of our hips here. Shifting our weight into our left foot as we start to peel our right foot off the ground. You can start off with a deep bend in your left leg here to find your stability. And starting to straighten that left leg. Reaching that right leg out behind us, keeping that block. And then coming into just a slight open chest here. Embracing all those tiny movements that are happening in your left leg. Taking one more breath, then exhale, coming into your forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to forward fold, just placing your block out to the side, we won't need it again. Inhale to reach your hands up. Exhale, bringing your hands, just going to come into Tadasana, so your palms are going to spin forward, chest nice and open, and just close down your eyes. Just taking some lovely, long, smooth breaths here. Thinking about all that strength that you cultivated in your legs. And then just blinking your eyes open if you had them closed. We're going to shift our weight into our right leg here. So as I do, as we shift our weight into our right leg, our left leg starts to lift. Bringing our left knee in front of our hip. You can bring your hands through the heart center here. Then opening our left hip out to the side. And then just placing your left foot just onto your leg. Just coming into a nice grounding tree pose. So quite a familiar shape. Just allowing our body to find that little bit of balance. And as you place your left foot on your right calf, just think about pushing them into one another. Making sure your right hip isn't pushing out to the side. And then bring your knee back through the center, setting your left foot on the ground. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. We're just going to challenge our balance a little bit if you wish. So grounding down to the left foot, right knee comes in line with our hip, opening it out to the side, and placing our right foot just somewhere on our leg, just making sure it's not on your knee joint. So if you want to set it up higher, you don't just need to grab it and basically hoik it up. Nice technical term there. If you want to challenge your balance, maybe reaching your hands up overhead, palms are going to spin in. And then challenge it even more. Maybe even start to lift your gaze up towards your hands. Feel that left foot really dance here. Taking one more breath. Then exhaling, bringing your hands back through the heart center, dropping it down, just coming into a forward fold here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping it back into the plank, doing one more sun A. Inhale, shifting your weight forward. Exhale, lowering halfway or the whole way. Inhale into your back bend of choice. And exhale, bringing it back to your downward facing dog. And then everyone's going to come into a nice child's pose. Toes are going to be untucked this time. Bringing your forehead down to the mat. And just letting your breath do its own thing. If you need to sigh it out, you're welcome to. And then just in your own time, just making your way to all fours. And then we're going to walk our hands forward, just coming into that melting heart pose again. Forehead down to the earth, creating space for your shoulders. And I want you to just direct all attention away from your legs, away from your hips. Just let your body be in a place that it wants to be. Then we're going to come into thread the needle variation of this, just picking your gaze up slightly, reaching your right hand out to the right hand side and weaving that right arm beneath you. Bringing your right temple down to the earth. Getting a nice stretch on the back of the right shoulder while still reaching that left arm forward, hips up nice and high. Taking one more breath here. And exhaling, coming back through into our melting heart pose for a brief breath. And then inhale, reaching that left arm out to the side, then reading that left hand underneath, left temple down to the earth. Feeling that nice stretch on our right side body behind our left lung. Then inhaling, just coming through, finding your melting heart pose again. Then slowly just walking your hands back towards your knees and then just sitting on your heels here. Then we're just going to come into a twist. So just inhale, twisting out towards the right hand side. We're just going to hold this for a couple of breaths. So just pulling your tummy in slightly just so you can increase the space so you can twist into it. We haven't done too many twists in class today, so this is just really just a nice restorative, wringing everything out, letting your shoulders just move away from one another. And inhaling through the center and then just twisting out to the left hand side. And then inhaling through the center. Then you're just going to shift your feet out to the side. So you're just coming to sit on your bum. And then we're just going to bring our feet together in front of us. So Supta Baddha Konasana leg. So soles of the feet together, knees are going to open out to the side. And just having whatever distance you need to between your body and your feet. Inhale here, just finding a little bit of length through your spine. So we get a nice long spine. And then exhale, just folding yourself over those feet. And just keeping your chest nice and open here. So we're not just doing, we still want to be an active stretch here. So not going too far into the restorative just yet. So letting those knees be nice and heavy as we start to open up the inner seams of our legs. Allowing the weight of your body on itself to open up. Feeling your breath just wash over your whole body. Taking a couple more breaths in this pose. Then on exhale, slowly making your way up. And if you want to even just grab the outer edges of your knees just to bring them together, you can. And then placing your feet just so that they're slightly wider than hip distance. Then we're just going to drop our knees out to the right hand side. Just going to whichever is comfortable for you. This can be quite an intense stretch on the inside of the left knee, so not taking it too far. And then coming through the center and then just dropping them over to the left hand side again. Be careful with that right knee. And then coming through the center and then just bringing your Left leg out in front, your right foot is just going to tuck into the inner seam of your left leg. Now this time when we fold forward, it is going to be nice and restorative, so just think about folding the chest in, keeping a nice curve in the back, so just like when you're doing cat back and cat and cow. Keep grinding that right hip into the earth so you get a nice stretch along the lower right side of your back. Just let your head hang here. Think about sending your breath up and down your spine. Taking another couple of breaths here. And slowly pulling your hands back to come out of that. And then just swapping up. So right leg's going to come out in front, left leg's going to tuck in. You might try to move about a little bit so you can really get your sit bones down to the earth. And then just turning yourself slightly so you're over your right leg and then just folding in. Pushing that left hip down so you can really feel a nice stretch. Your back, can't speak, the bottom of your left back. Keeping it nice and restorative. So not like if you come to my yin classes. In yin classes we talk about going into stretch and taking it to your edge. You don't need to go to your edge here, just so you can just feel it. Just another few moments in this pose. And inhale to come up, and then just placing your feet on the ground and just coming onto your back, and then just placing your right ankle just above your left knee, then shimmering your hips over to the right and just coming into a nice twist, so a nice reclined pigeon into a supine twist here. Just placing your arms wherever is comfortable, so if you feel like you want to open through the chest you can, or if you want to kind of be more nourishing, you can keep your hands close to your body. And if you want to increase that stretch in your right hip, just slide that right ankle up closer to your left hip. Just doing these final few poses just to release anything that's in the body. Bringing out the spine. Allowing your breath to return to a natural rhythm. And then bringing your legs back through to center, and then just swapping up, right foot down, left ankle, hips slightly over to the left. Just give yourself a bit of space to drop that left foot down towards the earth. Again, arm placement is up to you. Well, just starting to close down your eyes. Just like I said at the start of class, there's no expectations with you. Just letting your body melt down to the mat. And just bringing your legs through to center, uncrossing your legs. And just one final little pose before we finish class. We're just going to lift our feet up towards the ceiling. Lifting our hands up and just making everything really relaxed. Our legs were super strong for us today. Just letting all that energy all that strength that you created in your legs, just letting it drain out through your body as your hips sink down to the mat, your shoulders sink down to the mat. And start to bend through your knees a little bit, bend through your elbows. And then straightening your legs out onto the mat, letting your feet drop out to the side. Hand placement can be wherever feels comfortable for you. Maybe your right hand on your belly, your left hand on your heart. And then just as a group, we're just going to come together and do that one more Brahmari breath or bumblebee breath to really ground us into our Savasana. So a big deep inhale together, exhale out a sigh, then inhale into your Brahmari breath. And exhale out a sigh, and just let your body come into this sweet rest. It's worked so hard for you this morning. Just giving it some couple of moments of stillness and calm and peace.